Okay, that's a pretty broad remit we were just given there. But the reason we have Nikolay here on the stage is that Revolut is a great example of the immediate future of fintech companies. And for those of you who don't know what it is, maybe you could explain where Revolut came from and what it does.
Sure. So Revolut is effectively a global alternative to your bank account. So we give you a bank account plus a card, which allows you to save and spend money anywhere in the world for free. So for example, if you go to US, you spend $1,000. On every $1,000 that you spend, we save you $60, $70, $80. So we effectively made frictionless money. You can also use ATM machines for free, up to certain limit. You can send money for free abroad. You can also, borrow money at much cheaper rates compared to banks. So we launched this product only 2 years ago. We've never done any marketing, and we already have almost 1 million customers, retail customers. We have 60,000 businesses signed up in Europe. And at the moment, we're opening on average 3,000 accounts a day without any marketing.
3,000 accounts a day, 1 million people a year signing up. What sets the idea of Revolut apart from a traditional bank offering a digital credit card or debit card?
So the idea of Revolut is basically allow people anywhere in the world just to download the app and have a local bank account instantly. So if you think about us, it's similar to Uber, right? So you land anywhere in the world, you go to Uber app, and then you have a taxi, right? The same with us. You go anywhere in the world, and you have a local bank account, and you can spend, exchange, send money anywhere in the world for free.
Okay, makes sense. And as a startup in the fintech industry, do you find that the culture of Revolut is different to the culture of traditional banking? Is that something that sets the future of banking apart from your point of view?
Well, it's definitely much more different compared to banking culture. I mean, I used to work in the bank a few years ago, and it was very rigid, I would say. A lot of management, a very big hierarchical structure. I remember in a bank, I used to launch products as well, and for me, it took 2 years to launch one product at one of the banks, one of the big banks, and 14 levels of approvals. And in startup, it just happens instantly. In the last 1 year, I think we launched at least 8 products. So we launched premium, we launched credit, we launched business accounts, we launched insurance as well. And everything happens, from the idea to actually product being in production, 2 months maximum, 2-3 months.
So speed.
Yeah, speed is extremely faster compared to any corporate world.
And what about banking? Is very traditional. Lots of guys in suits and stuff. Do you find that challenging to walk into a business meeting and
yeah,
be
we
yourself?
actually have interesting experience, because we obviously work with banks as well. Some of them, they're our partners, and usually it's very funny to watch. Bankers coming into meetings with us, wearing suits, etc. And then they always meet, a few young guys, wearing T-shirts. And in the beginning, they're kind of, amazed with this attitude. But then, in the end, it actually distinguishes us, from other companies with whom they work.
Mm-hmm. Having said that, and you described yourself as an Uber for banking in a way. Is Revolut and products like yours a product for the millennial generation, do you think?
What happened before, if you look at the whole fintech, right? So previous generation of fintechs, they used to specialize in one niche product, like either money transfer or lending or peer-to-peer money sent, etc. But what fintechs found in the end, that it's very difficult to build a business on niche product, right? So I think successful companies in fintech will be companies who will be able to accumulate huge customer base and then cross-sell different products within one very simple interface. Something similar to WeChat, right? They started as a social network as a chat, and then they added a lot of financial services, and they cross-sell it. So I think in fintech, it will be very similar. Well, it is already similar.
The market's very dynamic at the moment for new ways of making payments with things like Facebook messaging payments and payments using Apple Pay. Do you think that that space is going to expand, traditional companies trying to do what you do, or do you think it's going to be more like companies like Revolut taking over the future of this?
So if you look at Apple Pay or Facebook payments, so what they're trying to do, they're trying just to bring on like some kind of small additional experience for a customer. Compared to us, it's very different, right? What we really do, we provide you 10 times better product, plus 10 times cheaper product as well, right? Because it's free, right? And then we build our own infrastructure. As a result, we're able to provide you interbank FX rates, right? And no one in the world does it. Apple Pay doesn't do it. Facebook doesn't do it. That's the value that we bring, right? That's how we differentiate, from other competitors. On top of extremely pleasing interface, we give you the best possible value.
So you really aren't a traditional bank.
Well, kind of.
You tell me that the money you hold as part of your customers' accounts is ring-fenced and protected. Does that sell to your market because of people being wary about the recent financial crisis and collapse of banks?
Yeah, so the way it's all structured, right? So we are not a bank yet, and we have e-money license, which effectively means that all client funds are ring-fenced in a separate account. So if anything happens, your money is still protected. So in fact, it gives you much better security compared to average, I don't know, B-rated bank, because all the banks, they lend you money, right? In our case, money is ring-fenced.
Are the traditional banks, quotes, afraid of you? Should they be afraid of you? Or companies like Revolut? Or are they moving too slowly to be afraid of you?
I mean, bank is a huge organization, right? In an average bank, there are 20, 30,000 people working. So to say that all 20, 30,000 people are afraid of us, it will be very interesting, But I don't think that's the case. I think some of them, they're watching, the space closely. But in terms of actually actions that they do, to compete, with fintechs, I haven't seen much, to be honest with you. I haven't seen, banks competing with us in a place to hire people, because we're constantly, hiring developers, designers, data scientists, etc. And we actually compete against other tech startups. We've never seen when our developer went to a bank, or when a bank outbid developer that we hire. So I don't think banks really into tech. At least what they're trying to do now, they're trying to partner with selected bright fintechs, but it's a very slow movement.
Mm-hmm. And when people think of financial startups, the things that most often ends up in the news that I end up writing about is consumer-facing startups. But I understand that Revolut tries to approach business customers as well.
Correct. So we launched business accounts 3-4 months ago in summer, and it was a good success so far. So we are now onboarding 40 businesses every day. We have over 15,000 businesses signed up, and the value proposition is the same as a retail account. We provide you business account for your international business, and if you look around the globe, almost any business is international nowadays, right? If I simply run a website selling, I don't know, something, right? I will be receiving revenues in euros, dollars, pounds. I'll be paying my suppliers in dollars or Chinese yen. So by definition, businesses need multi-currency accounts, and they need frictionless money. So what we do, we provide them these accounts within 5 minutes. If you go to any bank, business bank account will take to set up from 2 weeks to 2 months. We give you bank accounts, multi-currency bank accounts within 5 minutes, purely online. Then you're able to set up multiple cards for your employees. You can do cross-border transfers. You can do currency exchange. You pay just very small subscription cost, and then everything else is free. To give you an idea, we save you, any small business, we save you probably on average from 600 euros to 1,000 euros a month.
And that's an attractive proposition for any company.
Yeah. Exactly, and what we're actually trying to achieve, maybe in the future, at one day, is to merge two lines. So at the moment, we're effectively running two lines: business and the retail accounts. And if you look at the modern world, there is a big problem now. So every time when anyone goes to Airbnb websites and pays $300 for accommodation, Airbnb is going to lose 3 to 6% on transactions because of cross-border fees, currency exchange, acquiring fees, issuing fees, scheme fees, etc. Right? So what we're really trying to achieve, we're trying to make sure that Airbnb has Revolut for business account, people have Revolut accounts, retail ones, and then there is a simple pay with Revolut button on the website when transaction goes peer-to-peer instantly between businesses and consumers, and then the world becomes much cheaper and much better.
A big part of Revolut's pitch is the app. And a lot of things happen through your app, including customer service, which is a chatbot now, I understand, yeah?
Yeah.
And apps are becoming, when you think of a new fintech startup, you think of an app generally. You still offer physical credit cards to people.
Yeah.
Do you imagine that your company and companies like yours will, in 5 years' time, the credit card itself will disappear into the cloud?
It might happen, but I think for now, for the next 5 years, we'll definitely stick with cards. Whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, I don't know. By the way, we are now distributing 1,000 cards just in the back of the auditory, and it's free. You can just pick it up, download our app, and then get yourself a free Revolut card and account, and then enjoy spending on the Web Summit for free if you're outside of Europe.
Pretty nice offering. Would a traditional bank ever do that, do you think?
No, not really.
Here we are, supposedly in the third wave of fintech, and your business model exists because you were unhappy with the way that traditional banking works. What's next for you, but also who do you think is going to follow in your wake, and what will they do to innovate the banking scene?
To be honest, a lot of new things are coming up. Crypto is not an old thing anymore. We're a bit late here. We're actually launching cryptocurrency in 2 weeks' time. So within the app, you'll be able to buy and sell Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin at best possible price, as usual. But then, ICOs, blockchains. I mean, a lot of exciting things, and it's just impossible to predict where it will be in the future. So I just can't guess even.
Do you have any rivals who are beginning to get an idea of what you do and move into the same space?
Yes, there are obviously some startups popping up. For example, in Asia, we've seen recently some attempts to replicate what we do. But the problem is that they are late already for 2 years, and then we're already launching Asia, right? So they're at a big disadvantage. But definitely, copycats exist, if you look at different countries.
So you're still very much disrupting the financial system?
Well, yeah, I would say so.
Not replacing it, yeah?
No, not replacing, but yeah, just doing all things in a better way, cheaper way. Yeah.
And the idea of that sets Revolut apart is that you operate in 120 countries? Something
so
like
we operate now in Europe, so we're launching US, Canada, Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand soon. We can support almost all currencies, but at the moment Revolut is available only for European residents.
So it's tailored to the customer no matter where they are, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very global idea. But you just applied for a European banking license?
So yeah, we applied for European banking license, and there are two reasons. Reason number one, because our business is partially transactional as well, so we need to have correspondent banking relationship, and unfortunately, not being a bank is very difficult to get corresponding banking relationships. So that's why we're getting a banking license in Europe. And secondly, because of Brexit as well, so it's still unclear what will happen with the passporting rights. So for us, it's a good hedge against the worst outcome.
Random question. Revolut's an unusual name. Revolution, I guess, is the idea. Yeah. Do you think revolution of the banking system will ever come soon?
Oh yeah, for sure. I just know how banks work inside, right, and how outside world moves. It just speed is just amazing, right? And then the difference is speed. I think banks will never be able to catch up, to be honest here, just because the structure is too rigid. There are too many managers, and too many processes, too many levels of approvals. It's just not possible.
And as we were hearing in the previous talk, traditional banks are hidebound by regulation left, right, and center. And so far you're operating in a space that's not so strictly regulated. Do you think that gives you freedom to move speedily?
Well, to be honest, we're facing the same regulation as banks, which is, okay, we need to do KYC for customers, know your customers. We need to do anti-money laundering checks, PEPs, sanctions, etc. So we are doing exactly the same, right? Our big advantage is that we can do it on modern infrastructure. We can build everything from scratch. And for us, to make changes is a matter of few hours, right? For banks, to make changes is a matter of few months, sometimes a few years, with tens of millions of dollars spent. So that's a huge advantage, right?
You could rebrand your logo, but just by sending a push update to the app, for example. Yeah. Okay. Very interesting talking to you, Nikolay. Thanks very much. Thanks for sharing news of Revolut, and thank you.
Yeah, and just a reminder, Revolut cards are just behind you. Thank you.
Thank you.